year. They fired their head coach. They traded off their quarterback, their tight end, their defensive end, 17 picks for the next 14 years, and to get Russell Wilson and a brand new head coach. So when we look at their schedule, they open up on the road versus the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, I had them losing that game. If you guys were here yesterday, we broke down the Seahawks. But the pivotal game that I have, Wyatt, are these week 6, 7, and 8 games. So week 6, it is a Monday night game. They travel to SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Chargers. And then they have the Jets at home, and they travel to Florida to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had them losing all 3 of these games. If somehow, some way, they can win 3 out of 3 of these games, they are a playoff team. Just because they will get the momentum, start rolling downhill. But I had them going 0-3 in the stretch. I actually had them losing 5 straight from week 4 to week 11. Actually, that's six straight. I had them losing to the Raiders, Colts, Chargers, Jets, Jaguars, and then the Titans. And then they finally get a win again, week 11 over the Las Vegas Raiders. So with that being said, I do have them going 6-2 at home. Mile High is a very tough stadium to play, very good home field advantage, but I had them only going 7-10 on the season. I just don't have very good faith in this team. Yeah, 7-10.
Buck. 7?
7 wins, buddy.
Oh man. I mean, I think the bar minimum low for me is 8 wins, and that's the lowest. I think they probably end up with around 9, could be 10. I think this is the team that'll be on the outside looking into the playoffs. As much as I hate to say it, I really want Russ to do cool things. And I think the highlight of the year for this team is whenever they beat Seattle in the first game of the year. That's the biggest one I'm circling. I'll be watching that game. I don't care if it's a blowout. I don't care if it's a tight game, medium game. I don't care what the outcome is. I'll be watching that game because I want to see what happens when Russ returns to Seattle. Then they play the Texans. That's a win. So I think they start out 2-0. They play the Niners. That's probably a loss. Then they play the Raiders. It's probably a loss. So 2-2, quick down there. Russ always plays really good against the Colts. I don't know what it is, but he just always brings it against Indianapolis. So I'll give him the win there. Then they play the Chargers. I'll give him the win there. They play the Jets. I'll give him the win there. Then they play the Jags. I mean, they've got a relatively easy schedule. And on top of that, they got the Panthers as well. They do have Baltimore. That could be a tough one. As well as they got the Cardinals and the Rams. So their big one is at the end of the year. At the end of the year, they've got to win those pivotal games. They got to beat the Cardinals. They're going to have to beat the Rams. They're going to have to beat the Chiefs, and they're going to have to beat the Chargers if they're going to squeeze into the playoffs. But I could really see this team being a 10-win team that's on the outside of the playoffs looking in. I think this is the one.
So if we look at their final, let's look at the final 6 games of the season, Wyatt. They play a terrible Baltimore team. They could be much improved, right? They could be going from last to first place here. But week 14, they had Kansas City Chiefs at home. They had the Cardinals at home. They traveled to LA to take on the Rams, and then they traveled to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs, and then they finished up the season with the Chargers at home. I had them actually going 3-2 in that stretch with wins over the Chiefs, Cardinals, and the Chargers all at home, and then they lose the 2 games on the road. So you are telling me
a tough place to play.
Say that again?
I said, yeah, Mile High is a tough place to play. I agreed with you.
Right. So if you think they go 3-2 in those last 5 games that they are a playoff team, is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying if they win 5 out of those last 6 games, I think they make the playoffs.
Okay.
But they're going to have to win 5 out of those 6 games, and they play the Ravens, who could be a playoff team. They play the Chiefs, who I think are a playoff team. They play the Cardinals, who are a playoff team in the NFC. They play the Rams, who are a playoff team in the NFC, a Super Bowl contender in the NFC. They play the Chiefs, who are a contender in the AFC and a playoff team. And then they play the Chargers. So they're gonna have to muster out at least 5 wins in that series. They're gonna have to.
Yeah, and
they're not making the playoffs.
And I don't see that happening.
That right there, they could really close out their season 0-6 right there. They really actually could. Their last win of the season could be against the Panthers in Carolina.
Yeah, so
We really don't know how good Carolina is either. Sorry, go ahead.
But if they finish out the season 0-6 and using your justification from earlier, they could start the season 2-3 to 2-2. There's 10 losses on the season right there, Wyatt.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I mean, 7-10 isn't it far?
I'll backpedal. Yeah, I'll backpedal on that one. I'll give you that. They could be 7-10. You're right.
Which
I'll backpedal. That one's on me.
Which honestly, it is weird because if we think about it, yes, they started the season last year 0-4 and 0-5, right? But then they won like 6 or 7 games in a row. They got hot, right? People were thinking like, man, this team is good, and then they fell off again, right? So,
and then they face planted,
right? So, if they can duplicate those 7 games again, right? That they won 7, like it may have been 6 in a row, but like either way, let's say they duplicate that, they are a good, and they could possibly be a very good team. And getting right at the hot time in the NFL is very, very key. So speak